Hello and welcome to X-Plane 11. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and I'm going to be taking a look at this as a first impressions from the perspective of somebody who's only ever played on ESP based platforms. Flight Simulator 2002, Flight Simulator 2004, Flight Simulator 10 and Flight Sim World. I have only ever played on ESP platforms. I'm going to be looking at this completely fresh, and I want to see exactly what it's like. Now, I'm not going to be bashing this title for just personal preferences, but I am going to be taking my expertise as an engineer. I'm going to be taking my expertise as an aerospace engineer, knowing what I'm talking about in terms of flight dynamics, in terms of avionics, in terms of how an aircraft is supposed to feel without the physical well, actually, with the physical representation of it removed. Obviously, no motion cockpit, no transducers or anything to have rumble or anything like that. I am going to be looking at it purely from the perspective of what I'm going to feel as the dynamics of the aircraft, as the flight model. Now, obviously, I understand that the flight model may not be brilliant, but I have flown default aircraft in Flight Sim World. I've flown default aircraft in Flight Simulator 10. Flight Simulator 2004, okay, that was a long time ago. And now we're going to have a look at it here. But the first thing I want to do is I need to calibrate this joystick, which, or my flight controller, which doesn't seem to be, hang on. Maybe because if I do that, there we go. Okay, so I calibrated this. I did attempt to have this calibrated, which seems to be doing okay. But the only thing is I want to change this view zoom to perhaps my brakes. So that's in a, that sort of correlates to what I had. Wait, where are the brakes? The speed brakes. Left toe brake, right toe brake. Can I not just go to brakes full stop? Okay, that's a problem. No, I don't want just the right brake. Okay, so that's immediately a problem for me. Is that actually, I want to set that to be just brakes, both brakes. Is that not possible? Let me have a look. Let's have a look at other things. No. I like this. I do like these pictures. Okay, admittedly, that picture's not brilliant. But I do like the fact that it's actually picked up my device, and it's having a look at whether we can use it or not. What is this one? I don't know. That's not it. 5. Which one's 5? Oh, is it that? It is this. Okay, got it. So that's how I look left and right, but that's going to be quite sensitive, I think. That looks very sensitive. I could see what happens. Let's see what happens. So we've got elevator trim on this, which I'm not really a fan of. I'd rather have the trim on this. This does nothing. Yeah. Let's actually do that now. Pitch trim down. Pitch trim up. Your trim left. No, sorry, your trim right. Let's roll trim. Your trim right. Your trim left. Okay, so that's that. That gets rid of this for me, so I don't need these anymore. Could I... Is it worth me risking this? If I did that... And that one, small dial, as the right toe brake. This is really silly. This is really silly, this is. Because then applying both brakes at the same time, it could be quite difficult. Okay, but we're going to try it just for now. And I'm going to see if we can figure something else out. Landing gears, that. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to worry about that. I just want to fly the aircraft and ensure that I've got everything. I don't know what that button does. Yeah, now... That's not the view zoom anymore. Oh no, yeah, we don't want that as any of that. I suppose we could do that as mixture. That could work. So that's mixture full rich, I suppose. All right, and then we've got control sensitivity, control response. Yeah, I'll leave that as it is because I just want to see what's going on. We're not going to be using any of this stuff, I suppose. Views, that would be interesting. Yeah, change view mode. What have we got? C for free camera, shift and whatever for the different cameras like that. Shift and 5, track weapon, I don't need that. Shift and 8 for chase camera, that might be a good one to use. So I just got to remember shift and 8 for chase. W for your default view, which is shift and 9. So shift and 8, shift and 9. Okay. Flight visualization, we're not going to do. Sim dynamic, what's all this? Load situation, yeah, okay, we're not going to touch that yet. We'll keep away from that. We're not going to change that. We're not going to worry about replays. We're not going to worry about any of that stuff. Or any of that stuff. Okay. So there we go. Now we're going to... Now all I've done is I've loaded in a flight. But we're going to load in another flight. What do I like and what don't I like about this? AI aircraft. What's this? Oh. How... What? I don't understand. Do I just get rid of them? There. Add aircraft. Edit. Okay. I can just get rid of them. Maybe that's for the actual flight? I don't know. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, so I've picked Echo Golf November X-Ray. For those people who don't know why I picked this, I'm picking it simply because it is the one that I do my flight sim tutorials at, and therefore the one that most of my viewers would be most familiar with. So that's why I've done this one, and I will be probably going back into Flight Sim World and Flight Simulator 10 and doing a comparison, though my Flight Simulator 10 is heavily modded. Alright, so we'll start here in general aviation, and then we're going to, I suppose we'll go down, is that Mike? We'll go down Mike along Alpha, turn on to Whiskey, and take off on 27. I think that's what we'll do. Weather. Let's see what sort of weather we've got. Okay, so we can add manually configured weather, or from meta, or from real world. We can do real world weather. It might not work. Oh no, it's working. I was going to say it might not work because of my security, and I may not have let X-Plane through, but it seems to be working. So let's have a look. I'm assuming this is going to pick it up exactly as we've got. 240 at 7. Then we've got some clouds. That's pretty good. This is actually pretty good. All right, well, we'll take that. And therefore, we're going to be taking off on runway... All right, we're going to have to take off runway 9, I suppose. So we'll be going the other way. Okay, time of day. Let's make it daytime. Whereabouts in the day? Yeah, let's do it about 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 o'clock local. That's okay. There is a GMT offset that we're supposed to have, but it's okay. Let's do that. And we're going to pick the Cessna Skyhawk. Alright, let's see what we've got. Default, full whites. Okay, so we just got livery change. What did I do? Ah, okay. I've got to be careful of this. I'm not used to this at all. Old style, scratches, wave. That's nice. I was trying to look around. I literally thought that was going to be me able to look around and then explain 10. Let's just go for full white. There we go. No registration, anything. So we've got we can mess around with the weights, the fuel, the balance. That's in pounds. I'll probably have to turn that to kilograms. Though I want fuel in pounds and that in kilos if that were possible. There we go. We just do that. Easy. Easy. Very good. So that's not a problem. Okay. I suppose we just start the flight. Open joystick configuration. What are these two? Unconfigured input devices. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore that because I don't know what those are. It might have been me trying to set up head tracking. Obviously, I'm not going to have head tracking in this video, but it looks like I can look around, so we're going to find out. So this is literally my first impressions. We're going to take off, maybe do a circuit or something around the airport, and I'm going to land, and I'll just give you a feel, or I'll just give you my understanding for how this is feeling, what I like about it. Then maybe we'll go into some darkness, and we'll do a circuit, short circuit, land, turn it to night, do a circuit, and I'll tell you what I feel compared to Flight Sim World, which obviously has now gone. Flight Simulator 10, I can't give you a comparison to Prepared, unfortunately. That's really expensive. I also think it's probably unfair to give a comparison to Prepared in terms of this only cost me 44 or 45 pounds, whilst Prepared would cost me something along the lines of 160 pounds, which is, you know, that's a big difference. And as to whether it would feel different, I'm not too sure. Okay. Okay, don't do that. That was my mixture. Good. I suppose I'll lean it for the ground. Okay, so we are here. Can I look? Oh, that's very, very quick on the looking. Ah. I can do that. That's what I can do. Parking brake off. Can I get rid of this? Ah, yes, I can. That's normal. Put the two brakes to there. You can just see me fiddling with the brakes. That's going to be really awkward, that is. Right, we've got the Garmin system. It says X-Plane 530. That's a GNS 530, I think. Certainly looks like one. We're going to dial in, if I know how to do this. That's pretty simple. Very easy to, oh, I've already got 109.35 from when I was getting ready to do. So I'll go 115.7. Which is, that's going to be Trent, just in case we want it. I will put 115.7 on this one. Now, how does this work? Is it just scroll? It is literally just scroll. 115.7 can go on that. There we go. We'll change the needle to be... Let's go for something like 330. I don't know. I'm just putting in a random one there. Barometric pressure, I have no idea what it is. Hopefully it hasn't really fixed that for me. Now, okay, that's a little bit awkward, because we are supposed to be at 318-ish feet, so that should be the correct barometric pressure. Don't know what that noise was. Okay. We could put in the ADF. I could always tune in ADF. Switch that into ADF and then tune it in to be 393. Ah, this is a little bit awkward. I will admit it's a little bit awkward with the. It seems to be moving randomly. 393. There we go. I'm not sure if that's correct. There we go, that's it, switch in. Fantastic, and that's moving. And that moves very gently, which I like. I like that. So far, not bad. So far, not bad at all. Peter, he can go on. Wait, is that on? How do I switch that on? There we go. Okay. Strobe lights can be off right now. Landing lights can be off right now. Fuel pump is okay. We could do the check for the magnetos to see if we get the drop. So if I were to bring this up to 1,500, the brakes should hold me. There we go, 1,500. I'm just trying to remember how to do this. Bring that back. There's the drop. Bring it to the right one. There's the drop. Both within tolerances, and back down to idle power. Okay, so that works. I'm quite happy with that. That's one stage of flaps. Okay. Let's have a quick look outside now. I'm not sure why it keeps resetting my shift and 8, shift and 8. Aircraft sounds fairly realistic. Does sound fairly realistic. I like that. It's good detailing. I'm not sure what all these aircraft are sitting around. And there are a bunch of aircraft. How do I get rid of the... Alright, that's a question. How do I get rid of the AI aircraft. How do I get rid of all ATC? Ground handling, I'm not going to worry about any of that just yet. We're going to have a look at the map and the... that's the instructor station, I think. What's this? You see, it's doing something odd. GPS hardware, enable moving map or other... Ah! That's the moving map, as in the one... Yeah, okay. Miscellaneous Garmin moving maps. After connecting a GPS to the computer, you put the device in simulation mode. So you can actually have an actual Garmin. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Okay. This is... And then this is just this stuff. That's all it is. So I don't have to look at that. I just want to see... How do we get rid of the AI aircraft? There must be a way, right? Flight models. I could probably put that up. ATC, taxi arrows. Simulate blackout, redout, and hypoxia. Remove flying surfaces when over speed or over G limits. Okay. So that's damage, it looks like. But nothing to get rid of the AI aircraft. What's this one? Flight configuration. Maybe it's in here. No, there's nothing. I don't understand. Customize. No, we've done that before. Okay, maybe someone can explain that one to me. But anyway, now we should probably fly. So back in. Let's get this flying. I can look around with this, can't I? I can. There we go. And let's get a good feel for this. Okay, immediately I can tell you now, on the ground, it feels more alive. It feels more bumpy. It feels more like a Cessna. It feels light. Every movement causes it to move around, to sway. Very easy to turn. Although I do think... Hold on, does it have... What I'm trying right now is to stop the aircraft by moving it. It does have friction. So there is that. Okay. Okay. Just getting a good feel for this. Got an Alitalia flight there, which I suppose would make sense. The glide slope and the localizer are working more as expected. They're definitely working more as expected from the likes of Flight Sim World and Flight Simulator 10. And I am going to say immediately, this airport looks a lot more realistic. A lot more realistic. So well done there. Right, so now I'm just going to... I think I'll turn off here. This is onto Alpha. You can see it's got all the holding points, so that's impressive. See Alpha 1 there. Oh, sorry, Alpha 7, not Alpha 1. Alpha 7 holding point there. That's impressive. The aircraft does have a tendency to pull to the left a lot more than I feel it should, because I'm having to constantly put rudder in. And that is, just double checking, both my brakes are disengaged. So that's something to consider. It does pull to the left rather severely. That's a lot more of a pull to the left than it should. At least I believe, according to the dynamics of the power that's in this aircraft at the moment. This is pulling a lot more to the left than it should. I'm not putting in that much power on the aircraft, and it shouldn't be pulling to the left the way it is. Yes, I know there is the torque from the propeller, but not that much. The environment is fantastic. It does feel very realistic. The graphics are very good, very good. I think more so than the graphics, I am surprised by... That's a hotel. I am surprised by the actual environment dynamics. The clouds look real. Well, do they look real? I suppose so. They're not perfectly real. They're not, for example, they're not Rex quality, real environment extreme. Tell you what, let's take... I'm going to take... is this Delta? This is Golf. Yeah, I'll take Golf. Right, and we'll stop there. So we've done that. That's stopped. So this is right at the border, I think. Yep. So that's the ILS threshold, or the ILS warning area. Why does it keep resetting me like that? We can continue going forward. I can put more. There we go. Mixture's full rich. And we'll see what it's like to fly. You can see the localizer going crazy. That's actually fairly realistic. There shouldn't be an aircraft landing. I'm just going to go anyway. Yeah, the ground does feel just a little bit very wobbly. It just feels just a little bit wobbly. Everything else around here seems fairly good. Again, we're going to put these two in to stop the aircraft. Okay. One thing I've immediately noticed, the power station's missing. I should be able to see the power station from here. That's kind of the first down I've found in X-Plane now. Alright, let's see what the pull to the left is. That's quite severe. That's more severe than I would expect. Now let's keep that nose down. Let's see how fast we can go. Right, it does literally want to take off of its own accord now. So I'm going to take off of... There we go. Going to watch that wind. And we're up. Trim this for... See if we can trim it for 500 foot per minute. Which is a lot more difficult in this when you don't have control set up. The glide slope is moving really smoothly. I'm impressed with that. I'll bring the flaps up. That's very realistic. The fact that we immediately lost lift, very realistic there. No power station. Where is the power station? That's the M1 below us, that's for sure. Alright. Definitely the M1 below us, even with blue signs, blue symbols. It's pretty good. I assume this would be the town of Kegworth. Is it Kegworth? Why does my view keep resetting itself? Okay, so that's something that's happening. My view keeps resetting itself for some bizarre reason. And now it's flickering. What's that all about? In terms of visuals, it's very good. The dynamics are very good. Unfortunately, now I'm looking at this terrain, or more than that, I'm looking at the fact that there's no power station. I can't see any power station around. And that's making me feel like that's a problem. That is feeling like it's definitely a problem. So again, I'm just flying around just to have a look at the area. Probably now trim. Let's trim to... Ooh. The trim is difficult, should I say. So the trim is difficult. And this aircraft pulls severely to the left. Given the wind is blowing from 240, I would be expecting the aircraft to be pushing to the right, but it's that's one thing to take into account. Have I compensated for that? I have not. Alright, so there's the airport right below us. Let's have a look. Let's see if there is anything that I can recognize around the area. Obviously I recognize the motorway. It's more difficult to see. It's a little bit more hazy. I like this though. It looks very realistic. That's something that looks incredibly, incredibly realistic. So that's really good. Well done there to them. Tell you what, let's switch on the autopilot and see how the autopilot responds. There's the autopilot. That was very sudden. Let's go. Let's switch on the heading hold. That's a lot more sudden than I would expect an autopilot to be. Let's make the vertical speed 0 now. So we'll just use vertical speed, that's all we'll do. And suppose we need to have more. That is a significant pull. We'll try this without any wind at some point, and then I'll be able to have a better idea of what's going on. Okay, now to have a look around. This aircraft's flying tilted. Why would you be doing that? That's not correct. That's not correct at all. That doesn't feel right. Something right now just doesn't feel right about this. Let's go back outside. That just doesn't feel right. The roads look good, very realistic there. I should have had my strobes on, that's something I don't. Is it something I've done? Let's make sure that we actually have these. Oh, actually, that could... Come on, there we go. Make sure that we actually have these on. I'm really not sure. Anyway, we're down to 1,000 feet. This autopilot doesn't seem to be doing what I wanted to do. That's more like it. Now, why did it not use the rudder to correct? Alright. So what I'm seeing is I know that before anyone says that there are mods available for scenery and everything, I know there are. I want to see what it's like out the box. I'm impressed with the dynamics. The flight dynamics of this are very interesting. This aircraft feels a little bit more... It feels more alive than it would in Flight Simulator. It doesn't feel as realistic as I would have hoped. This feels like it's a little bit more... What's the right term for it? Floaty? No, floaty is probably not the right term. It's more unstable than it should be, I feel. That's probably the right way to say it. It feels more unstable than I feel it should be. Right, let's see if we can get ourselves back to the airport. Now, this is interesting because I can't see the airport. Yeah, it's just pulling massively to the left. That feels wrong. Yes, I can't see the airport, but I do have it here. So I could always try and zoom in to give me a good idea as to where we are. Also, I have tuned the ADF in, although the ADF will be pointing behind me. In fact, is that the airport right there? I think that's the airport's right there. I'll tell you what, since we've done a bit of flying like this, let's do a landing. If I remember this correctly, I can now do that, and it should... There we go. Now I can see the airport, so let's land it at night. Okay, so we'll get to see what it's like during night procedures. Now obviously I am very low, but I can use this to slow myself down. Okay, and it does... I will say something. This looks stunning at night. This really looks stunning at night. I see something in the distance over there. Some sort of pylon for something? I'm not sure. I'll immediately give them that. Stunning at night. Okay. We're now coming up on the localizer and the glide. Now I want to see, do those lights turn pink or do they just immediately go from red to white? That's what I want to see. It immediately went from red to white, didn't it? Let me just dip below again. Yeah, that's just immediate change. Okay. Not exactly what I want. Let's get some flaps out. We are high again, but that's okay. I want to see this X-plane. I want to get a feel for it. Like I said, never flown in this before. So it's very interesting. And again, it's resetting my views, and I'm not sure about what's going on there. I'll have to have a look. Dynamic lighting, that's pretty good. And the runway is, the other thing is, the runway is no longer flat like I've experienced before. So having a runway that's no longer flat, that's kind of interesting. We are down. Alright, on the brakes. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. First impressions. The dynamics, the atmospheric dynamics are incredible. This night lighting is beautiful. I could do without so much in the way of the flares. I will say that. I will definitely say that. I could do without the flares. This aircraft feels more alive than a default aircraft in Flight Sim World or Flight Simulator 10, that's for sure. It feels more... I feel like it does feel more like the real aircraft. It feels like it's responding better, more dynamic. I would say that in Flight Simulator it feels like they've got the static models really correct, but this seems to work with the dynamics a lot better. However, having said that, it still feels floaty on ground handling, as I'm having a look at it now. It feels floaty on ground handling. That pull to the left is extremely severe. I'm not sure what's up with that. And the autopilot system seemed to tilt my aircraft as opposed to use the rudder, which is again incredibly confusing. Why would it do that? In terms of scenery, the quality of the scenery is okay, but the accuracy is not there. The roads are accurate, that's for sure, but the fact that... Am I going in this area? Yeah, new. No, we're not. I think it's the next one. The roads are accurate, but things like, for example, the fact that that power station was missing. I know, again, I'm going to try it out with mods, with scenery updates, but the fact that the power station is missing right there, that is a important visual waypoint, as is the church in, is it town of Kegworth? I can never remember. As is the church in Kegworth. Those are very important waypoints to be using, and if they're not there, then it sort of takes that realism away. And something that Flight Simulator and Flight Sim World both had is they did have that power station. They had the power station on both sides, as you've seen from my series. So there is that. These aircraft are huge. I've definitely pulled into the wrong area. But you know what? Doesn't matter. Let's just stick the aircraft here. That will do. Very nicely. I do like this, although that's a little bit awkward. I will admit that. That's alright. The rest of it's okay. I like that this is a lot more fluid than I've experienced in Flight Simulator before. The noises are pretty good. The dynamic lighting is excellent. But really, I think the biggest disappointment for me so far is just the scenery. So I am going to be looking at other scenery, and we'll see what comes out. What comes out of that? That one's from America. November Delta Charlie 10X or X-ray. So yeah, we will see what comes of that. But first impressions, promising. Definitely promising. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. I will be doing more once I start adding in some of the, I know there's like, is it Ortho 4XP or something? So I'll be looking at that, and then I'll be doing a comparison saying, right, these are free add-ons to put on to X-Plane. Let's compare it with whatever we've got. And if it can bring back, for example, if I can recognize areas and landmarks in London, in the East Midlands, and Nottingham, in Leeds, in Edinburgh, if I can recognize all those landmarks in places that I have been, you know, Birmingham, Exeter, wherever I've been in Flight Simulator or in real life, if I can recognize those landmarks, I will be giving this a massive thumbs up. Again, it just feels like the default aircraft are a little bit too unstable though. That is definitely a given. They feel a little bit too unstable, they feel a little bit too... They feel great on the dynamics, but they just feel like they're just a little bit too wobbly. On the ground they feel a little bit too floaty, but they do feel more alive than I've experienced in other sims. That being said, obviously this aircraft can't hold a candle to, for example, the likes of the A2A aircraft, the A2A Cessna. But then you can expect that. Now, should A2A and the likes of PMDG and stuff come to X-Plane to create products, I think that could be absolutely fantastic. But I am going to see if I can get a hold of a couple of Just Flight products and maybe some of the Caronado. Is it Caronado? I think it is. Caronado products, and see what I think of that. But the Just Flight Piper Arrow 3 is one that I definitely want to check out because of the extensive flying I've done in that in Flight Sim World. I know exactly how that flies in Flight Sim World, and I think it's a fairly good representation in Flight Sim World. Fairly realistic, if not perfect though, or not perfect, but fairly realistic. And I want to see if having these dynamics of X-Plane 11, which feels right according to this single aircraft, or feels more alive, I want to see if they can make it feel a lot more alive. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on X-Plane 11. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know whether you've been playing X-Plane for years or just jumped on it, or whether you've been playing on an ESP platform, P3D, so Prepared, Flight Simulator 10, Flight Sim World, whatever it is. Let me know your thoughts and what you think. These are my initial thoughts. They may change. It's just my first impressions. They may change as I put in a few more hours and I get used to the aircraft and understanding what I'm feeling. Or they may stay the same. I guess you'll just have to stick around to find out. Don't forget to support me on Patreon and follow me on Twitch. Link to that is in the description box below. I'll see you guys next time in X-Plane 11.